Our second question is, what will the market for selling personal injury law firms look like by 2030? Okay, so we give a lot of thought to the personal injury law space. A particular reason why is because personal injury law attorneys and the owners of PI firms, they've embraced digital well before 2020. And personal injury law firms have also, as a result of embracing digital, and when I say digital, I mean multi-channel digital marketing, okay, to be able to get the attention of today's consumers of legal services, that is clients. To gain that attention, we need to reach out to clients digitally, and personal injury law firms, they have begun and have really started to develop and have developed law firm brand equity, which is significantly different than the goodwill of a particular attorney. Okay, law firm brand equity has really four feeders to it. The first is the digital presence itself. That is recognizing that you really, in today's post 20 marketplace, you can't just have a website. You need to have digital presence from a multi channel standpoint on multiple areas of social media, as well as podcasts and vodcasts, and to the extent that there are ads that are the ads that appear in radio and TV, as well as some personal injury law firms, as we all see when we're traveling down the highways in America, have billboards. That leads into the brand awareness. Okay, the digital presence and multi-channel digital marketing. That leads to brand awareness that people in their given communities are recognizing personal injury law firm brands. And then there's trade names. Many firms today are adopting either singular surnames for the names of their law firms or actually adopting trade names themselves. And then the fourth feeder to law firm brand equity is quality perception. The major essence of quality perception are Google reviews. Okay, and we're seeing, and the consumers are absolutely seeing, that when they're going on to personal injury law firm sites and seeing firms that have hundreds of five-star Google reviews, some even having thousands of five-star Google reviews, that quality perception is huge. Just the same way, like if I want to stay at a certain hotel, if I want to go to a certain restaurant, if I want to buy a certain pair of sneakers, and I see hundreds or thousands of Google reviews in support of that item that I want to either purchase, consume, rent, whatnot, and I see that there are that many Google reviews, I'm going to think, wow, this has high quality. And as a result, these four components of law firm brand equity, they are leading personal injury law firms today to develop real law firm brand equity. So now let's look at some of the leaders in the personal injury law space. What we're showing here is that in September 2023, Hennessy Digital published America's most Googled personal injury law firms. And we really look at this as an indicator for where the personal injury law firm space is going in terms of the importance of brand equity. It is no surprise that America's most Googled personal injury law firm is Morgan & Morgan. The big surprise, though, out of this report that Hennessy Digital published is just how far ahead of the pack that Morgan & Morgan is. What this report is showing is that every month, approximately 267,000 people are searching for Morgan & Morgan via Google. That is a five-fold amount ahead of its next closest, most Googled PI firm, which is Ben Crump, tremendous attorney, well marketed, but Morgan & Morgan is just so far ahead of the pack. Nonetheless, like, what does that mean? It means that Morgan & Morgan is absolutely getting the attention of today's consumers of personal injury law. What does it also mean? It means that the competitors in the marketplace in every state and regionally and nationally are going to be playing a catch-up game to Morgan & Morgan for consumers to be attracted to their brands as well. Now let's bring this to sales, okay? As we are considering The sales of personal injury law firms and projecting towards 2030, as personal injury law firms are developing brand equity, they are absolutely in what we call law firm sales 2.0, which most law firms today are not in law firm sales 2.0 yet, because law firm sales 2.0 is based upon a fixed price that comes from the digital value and the brand awareness that PI firms are developing. That is, those firms that are listed in the Hennessy Digital top 50 of most Googled branded firms, they all have real digital value, real brand awareness, real data analytics that show that clients are coming to their law firms because of the brand and not just because of the given personal injury law attorney at that firm. In terms of what it is that today's personal injury law firm owners can be doing as they're considering the sales of their law practices, looking towards 2030 and thinking that we are now in and knowing that we are now in the mid 2020s, as personal injury law firms are seeing this list of the top 25 most Googled personal injury law firms in the United States, what can they be doing now in the mid 2020s? And really, how did those firms that are listed among that top 25, how did they get to that place? And the way that those firms got to where they are in terms of the branded personal injury law firm today, if we look under the hood at how personal injury law firms are developing brand equity, it's because of a realization that the consumer attention for how consumers look for lawyers today has shifted post 2020. Consumers today are looking for their lawyers online. We are often saying that Uncle Google has become America's greatest referral source, because just as we Google for everything and anything, today's would-be clients, they're also Googling for their attorneys. In terms of how this is playing out from a revenues standpoint for today's personal injury law firms. And let's focus now on senior attorney led personal injury law firms. What we're seeing in the mid 2020s is that as multi channel digital marketing has entered into the space and has made the space for attracting clients to personal injury law firms uber competitive in terms of how the clients are going onto Google and they are looking for PI attorneys to hire, what we're seeing for today's senior attorney led PI firms is that their revenues are actually going down. Because if you're not attracting new clients, because you're not investing the significant amounts to attract those new clients to your firms, then the revenues are actually going to go down as the 2020s continue to progress and as your competitors are developing more and more brand equity, brand value in the marketplace. So, in terms of what can you do about that? What we see and what we recommend to senior attorney led PI firms is that while we are now in what we call law firm sales 1.0, while PI attorneys that are not committed and aren't going to necessarily commit to multi-channel digital marketing, that law firm sales 1.0, this offers a tremendous opportunity to take advantage of the client list and referral source list that you have developed over the course of your career, no matter what. Even if your revenues may be going down, even if you're not developing as many clients as you did in yesteryear, a growing PI firm wants and needs your client list, your referral source list, the goodwill that you have developed over the course of your career, the subject matter knowledge that you've developed, and really what we call the treasure trove of digital value that you're just sitting on because you've got all this knowledge that you share with your clients, that you share with defense counsel, that you share with judges and juries. Well, growing law firms need that digital value, that content that you have to play out for their multi channel digital marketing. And in terms of how sales happen in law firm sales 1.0, what we're seeing is earnout payments, that is senior attorney PI attorneys that are paid as referring attorneys for a negotiated number of years, because for those senior attorney PI attorneys that aren't going to invest in multi-channel digital marketing, and as their client lists and referral source lists actually decrease as the 2020s progress, their ability to earn as much as possible in this law firm sales 1.0 will decrease as this decade continues to progress.